Here we have Jalen, our victim, who was found dead in a river with many punctures to her body. Here in this video, we're going to describe her wounds along with a few directional terms. The first being superior cranial. This directional term refers to above or towards the head. Here we have inferior chordal, which refers to below or towards the feet. Here we have interior ventral, which is the side of the body pointing towards the front. It is a description of the front of the body, but just a sideways view is all. This term is the posterior dorsal, which describes the back of the body from a backwards view. Here we have medial, which is described to be closer than the midline. If you look on our victim, we have the midline in the center of her body, and the medial seems to be closer. This means that any wound that is closer to the midline will be referred as medial. Now here we have our opposite, lateral, which is farther away from the midline. You see how it is farther away instead of closer? That means that it is lateral, meaning we have a wound that is farther away from this line where the subject's midline is. That means the wound would be lateral. Here we have distal, a term only described on a limb when there are two different wound points on that single limb. Here on our victim, we have the distal points labeled as blue. These lacerations describe the point being farther away from where the limb is attached to the body. Now we have proximal. Proximal describes a puncture wound that's closer to where the limb is attached instead of farther away from where the limb is attached. Still describing two different points, however, it's the same as distal, but just closer to the limb. Now we have superior. Superior refers to the outside of the body, so now our victim is spread out so you can see her skin. Now we have our last but not least directional term called deep. This one refers to the internal organs instead of the external ones. You see how our victim is facing inwards to indicate that her directional term is facing on the inside instead of the outside. Here our victim has a tattoo on her back. But where exactly on her back? We can use directional terms to describe where exactly it is. Here the victim's tattoo is posterior to her chest. We know this because posterior means back. The tattoo is also superficial. I know this because the tattoo is on the surface of her skin, not internally. Lastly, the tattoo is medial to the midline. We know this because it's right on the midline instead of farther away.